All right. Well, happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully, things have stabilized a little bit on the stream. For those that have joined in chat, good morning. Happy Monday to you. Appreciate a little bit of feedback on buffering. Things look a little bit better on my end, but I'm a tad bit worried. We'll see. We're gonna power through anyway. So happy Monday, hey everybody. Hey Robert Tables. Thank you so much for the resub at 4 months. That's awesome. Excited to see you today. Hey, James said hello again. Hey, Ronan. The title alone had you. Let's do this. Well, hopefully it won't disappoint Ronan. And Kelser, the first happy Monday to you as well. Hopefully things have picked up and improved audio and video wise. I've tried to shut down literally everything that I can think of that might be potentially causing an issue. So, yeah. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. I don't have much of a show and tell today other than to share a couple of tidbits. One is to share that my talk from NDC Oslo from a couple of weeks ago has actually been posted to YouTube by the NDC crew. So I will share the link to that here. Y'all check that out. Talked just a little bit under an hour. Like I mentioned, all the demos worked. Tarragon 1, thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate it. Hopefully you're having a good Monday. And thanks for jumping in. So y'all check out this talk. Yeah, thanks, James. I'm excited that it's up. They got it up really quick, which is awesome. So you can see, I'll share a little bit of a sneak peek if I can like scrub ahead. But I actually did. Hey, the Michael Jolly, how you doing? Happy Monday to you. I was just sharing that my talk from NDC Oslo is up. And I actually, where did I do this? Towards the end of the talk, I actually did a live demo with one of the attendees. So, Kelser the first, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, so here we go. So I actually did a live demo with one of the folks from the crowd. I make it sound like it was like 1 million people from the audience, and that was pretty fun. So yeah, definitely y'all check this out. I will post this on Twitter as well, but just kind of wanted to share it here with y'all first. It just got posted yesterday or today in the last 24 hours, as far as I'm aware. So Kelser, the buffering is better for you, James. It is very bad for you. I am sorry. And Kelser the first. Oh yeah. So Oslo, it was a good time this year. Hopefully you're able to make it back next time. I hope I can make it back next time. This has become sort of for me like a must attend one year to the next. I'll keep on submitting because I love that conference. It's absolutely one of my favorites. So Kelser, refreshing actually did work for you? Okay. And right, Robert Table's live demo. What could possibly go wrong, right? What could possibly go wrong? In this case, it worked. So I'm not going to spoil that, though. I'm going to close the tab, and I'll let y'all check it out. The other thing that I wanted to share is that I have resuscitated my blog. And that is at breakingthings.io. It's a domain that I have owned for many years and haven't really done anything with. So the primary motivation for getting my blog back off the ground was to actually get my stream notes in there. Those of you that have been on for a little while know that I am sort of just creating markdown stream notes and publishing them. The Michael Jolly and Robert Tables and others have done, and actually Clarkio have done a really good job of creating actual readable stream notes. And so I followed suit, created a Gatsby site. That was for you, Robert Tables. I created a Gatsby site, very easy, with a very minimal theme. And so I have my stream notes are now typically up within 24 hours after the stream. Typically, the only thing that I usually have to wait on is uploading the 3-hour video to YouTube, so that the VOD was there past the 2-week period that Twitch will keep those around. So there's some things in there. I've started to port some older content that's there as well. But yeah, y'all definitely. It's pretty simple right now. All that's in there is posts, a very, very light About Me page, and then some recordings from past talks, which I guess I should add this one from today up there as well. And then a few events that I know I'll be attending in the near future. So You are a trendsetter on the internet, Robert Tables. Embrace it. I love it. I always like the inspiration from other Twitch streamers, just seeing people do things and thinking, all right, I really need to go do that as well. So that is it for my show and tell today. And I have mentioned this on Twitter, but what I want to do in the stream today is do something a little bit different than work on a hardware project or particle project. This is a completely IoT free stream today. It is all Python and TDD. We're gonna, and I am not great at Python, and I've never done TDD in Python before. So I have not, prior to the stream, I didn't even bother Googling TDD frameworks for Python because we are going to learn that together. Body paint. Michael Jolly. I don't know what I said that caused you to say that. I must have missed the reference. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk on the benefits of attending NDC. I think everyone should submit to NDC Oslo. So look, here, I'll tell y'all, right? Any NDC conference, because it is one of the best organized set of conferences out there. They run on, I think they're in like 6 different locations. No, I meant to go to ndcconferences.com. So go to ndcconferences.com. Right here. Something new and exciting. So there are 5 different locations right now. Tech Town, which is in Kongsberg, which is actually also in Norway. Sydney, Norvika. I'm not sure. Oh, that's also in Oslo. So there's 3 of these in Oslo, but there's also London and Porto. And then there is one in Minnesota. There was one in Minnesota earlier this year. So actually 6, 7 different locations. And Kelzer, the first, you're absolutely right. The CFP for London is open now. I submitted to NDC London. I hope I get in because I spoke at NDC London several years ago and it was also awesome. This is a great event. So if you're interested, submit to the CFP and maybe I'll see you there. Or maybe you'll get in and I won't, but I won't be unhappy because if you get in and I don't, then I will happily support and promote your talk. I might come anyway, come and hang out. So any of you, definitely submit to NDC London, any of the other NDC events. Great event. Awesome. Robert Tables, you can go, you have enough time to get a passport. You have enough time, you could do it. If you submitted to NDC London, you would know in enough time to be able to get a passport, I would think. Anyway, all right, so that was my first squirrel moment of the day. NDC conference is amazing. Check them out. Very cool. Submit. They're good stuff. So, Conway's Game of Life. Those of y'all that have been here for the last couple months know that I have been spending every waking moment messing around with machine learning, deep learning. I have been teaching myself Python. I've been doing all of that under the context of IoT projects with Particle and with the Google Coral. I'm going to take a slight detour right now. Conway's Game of Life is not a machine learning kind of project, but there definitely is some inspiration and a lot of people in sort of machine learning and deep learning circles that get into thinking about these cellular automata, if I use the like formal terminology kind of stuff. Conway's Game of Life is a really popular project to implement across different programming languages. I have never done it before, actually. It's something I've always been aware of, but I've actually never gone through and implemented Conway's Game of Life in any programming language. So this is going to be kind of a fun new experience for me. I have no idea how far I'm going to get with it today. So we'll see. We'll see where we end up getting with this together. But I want to do it live because it'll be fun. And we'll, I'm sure I'll fail on a few things. And as usual, have you all help me out. So what we're going to start with is, if you haven't seen before, go to the trusty Wikipedia article. There's lots of good resources on what Conway's Game of Life actually is, but the Wikipedia article makes it pretty simple. This is a cellular automaton project or concept devised by a British mathematician named John Horton Conway. I'm not going to read you the Wikipedia article because you can read it yourself. It has relatively simple rules, but it can be a very complex project based on the way that you set up the initial state of the grid and the way that you kind of choose to run through things. So The rules is basically the idea is it's a two-dimensional orthogonal grid of square cells. Each cell has a state. It's either in alive or dead, or it's populated or unpopulated if you don't like that terminology. Hey, Cooper Beardy, evening. How are you doing? We are going to do TDD style implementation of Conway's Game of Life today on the stream. So taking a little bit of break from hardware stuff. We're going to do pure software and watch me fail at TDD in Python, which is, I would think, would be a great way to spend your Monday, whether it's a morning, afternoon, or evening. So hopefully we'll have fun with that together. Robert Tables, I'm a cellular automaton who pays for groceries and stuff. Pretty basic. Right, exactly. Precisely. So every cell has 8 neighbors. So the neighbors that are sort of surrounding it completely. And the way that it works is you go in sort of a series of steps. That's the way that the network evolves, or you show sort of moving things over time. Babin, hey, how you doing? Yes, this is neat. I am really excited to do this. So Babin, I have aspirations for eventually implementing the Game of Life on hardware, on a TFT display, but I wanted to actually start it pure Python and then see if I can actually port it over to either CircuitPython or C++ once I do it. But for today, just software, just to understand sort of the rules and a few of the basic things. So at each step in time, what happens is you run through and look at every individual cell. And any live cell that has fewer than 2 live neighbors dies, so it's underpopulated. Any live cell with 2 or 3 live neighbors, fewer than 2, with 2 or 3 lives to the next generation. Any live cell with more than 3 neighbors dies. And then any dead cell with exactly 3 live neighbors becomes a live cell as if by reproduction. So relatively simple rules. They're relatively easy to program an algorithm around. But there's some cool stuff that you can do with it based on how you initialize based on how you seed the universe. That sort of makes all the difference. So I'm not going to go into any more details in terms of like what's on the page here. It's worth checking out. What we're actually going to do is we're going to implement this ourselves, starting from complete scratch. So I'm going to open up a new window. And we're going to create a new project that I'm going to call PyConway, because why not? In fact, hold on. Actually, let's do this in the terminal. So, dir PyConway. So like Minecraft, the initial seed generation. Yeah, exactly, Robert Tables. And I'm actually curious to see how much Minecraft works on sort of similar rules for generating, for like seeding worlds and whatnot. Hey, Cooper Clay, how you doing? I'm excited about this too. It's been kind of neat. Hey, Chief Shaman, how you doing? Yep, thanks for using the command. And this project, all of my projects are at the GitHub repo. You will find this one there as well. We'll push it before the end of the stream, no matter how far I get. So we'll absolutely see. Go on, wiggle with it. All right, so PyConway. All right, and let's see, we're gonna do git init. So, and we will code it up. Hey, RDM Jam, it is Monday. How you doing? Hope you had a good weekend. For the folks that are in the States, hopefully you had a good 4th of July holiday. I actually had a 5-day weekend. It was amazing. And I am terrible about disconnecting, like completely disconnecting from work and my machines and various projects and things like that. And I totally disconnected this time, which I'm excited about. And it was great. Spent time with the family and saw fireworks, drank some good beers, made a brisket that turned out very good. It was a good time. Exactly what I needed. All right. So I've created the project. I'm going to resist. In true TDD style, I'm not creating anything, not putting anything in here until told to do so. So my first thing is going to be searching for a Python TDD framework. Framework. Let's find one. And if any of you have done TDD in Python before and you have a recommendation, I'll take it, please. Did I type BDD framework? There's a difference. I just want to do simple test-driven development. I don't want to get all like verbose with BDD style frameworks. Here we go. I'm gonna click on this code like a girl link. I think I know who that is. Who is that? Oh no, it's this. Okay, cool. Yes, I want to do some tests. Unit test and TDD. Tested return. Jest. Yeah, thanks both Robert Tables and James. Yeah. Jest. Y'all are funny. James, you do need a 5-day weekend. Take your 5-day weekend, man. Do it. Do it up. All right. I don't want to read. This looks like actually, oh, this is more of a integration testing sort of approach. So this is more of like the TDD theory behind TDD, which is good. But I want to cheat. Rubik's code. I mean, I could go to the like a Pippi search and, or I don't know how you pronounce that. Unit test. Come on. Is there just a library called unit test? Okay. I should have just done this originally and just searched Pippi. Pippi. What? How did you pronounce it? Pippi? Pippi seems right. Yes, unit test. So, is that actually an official Python library? Because that would be the one to use, right? This is in Python 3. Oh, it's part of the standard library. Thank you, Robert Tables. Why look for anything else when you can just use the standard library? So this is perfect. Great. Hey, GrowGuard, happy Monday. How you doing? Hope you had a good weekend. How is the crowd supply campaign going for the giant board? Perfect. Okay, so this is great. So import unit test. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to, test case is created by subclassing unit test case. Great. And of course, I'm going to probably mangle some of this. So I'm going to save it to Pocket to read tomorrow. But we'll try this. Why not? Hey, .commie. Happy Monday to you as well. Hopefully you had a good weekend. I'm great. I'm great. I'm implementing GrowGuard today. IoT-free project day. I am implementing Conway's Game of Life in Python. TDD style. Never done TDD in Python before, and GrowGuard, as you've seen before, I suck at Python. So this should be fun for everybody. What's Pocket, Robert Tables? So go to getpocket.com. It's a like save for later article service. So I come across a lot of stuff throughout the day that's like, oh, I want to read that. And I hate stopping to read stuff like in the midst of something. Like if I'm on Twitter and somebody declares an article. That's funny, James. That needed a kappa. Where is your kappa? with that smarminess. So I'll save stuff to read, and then usually every morning I go through and spend 30 minutes or so. It's just sort of like reading through articles that I've saved the day before. I have more saved in there than I'm ever able to read at any one time, but that's okay. It just gets it out of those things can easily become a distraction for me if I let myself just like, oh, I'll read this article on 538, or I'll read this article that somebody shared on Twitter. And you can save TED Talks. That's another good one too. So I save it. All kinds of stuff. Yeah, .com. I had a great weekend. I shared earlier. I had a 5-day weekend, and I completely disconnected. It was amazing. It was exactly what I needed, because the rest of 2019 for me is going to be like kind of insane. Unfortunately, I already know that. So I'm going to create a new file, and we're going to call it test.py. Test.py, 23 minutes in, and we're finally getting some code, right? So import unit test. Great. If name. This underscore thing in Python still kind of trips me up. I mean, it doesn't trip me up. I understand why it's there. It's just trippy. Okay, then we're going to do unit test.main. Semicolon. See, all right. So that's one. Let's set an over under on the number of times Brandon types a semicolon at the end of a line today. So JavaScript C guy, like my entire career. So that was one. I'm going to set the over under at the number of times that I type a semicolon in a 3-hour stream. I'm going to set the over under at 7. 7. So place your bets. Take the over or the under. Okay. Over under on number of I spell my own name. How am I going to avoid semicolons? And we'll update this at the end. So we got one. I got one tick so far. I got one. Over. Okay. All right. Don't call me late for dinner. Okay, let's see. Who has the over? Over. And then I'll figure out if you're correct or right, what you all win. So don't call me late for dinner. 120. That would be, I mean, if you hit that exactly. Yes, that's already one, Robert Tables. So Robert Tables, you got the over. .com, you got the over. Are there going to be any unders? Ronan. Ronan 52 got the over. Mark Betchell. Okay, just forget 90% of everything you know about C++. Grogard, you're right about that. Did I forget any overs or unders? Kelzer, so semicolons are optional in JavaScript, and this is a phrase that I have claimed and has been repeated by others, so I think it's mine, but maybe I stole it from somebody else. I don't know. Semicolons are optional in JavaScript like brushing your teeth is optional. I mean, you can skip it. You can avoid the semicolons, just like you can avoid brushing your teeth, but there will be consequences. Eventually, you will pay for them. Kelzer taking the under. Thank you for believing in me. Or maybe you'll change it now that I said that semicolons are, yeah, I don't know. Okay, Kelzer. Oh my gosh, can I type? Okay. Babbitt got the over. Now tell me if I missed anybody. Okay. Okay. So I'm already at 1, and I've only typed 3 lines of code. Okay. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right. Okay. So let's run this. So I don't think I'm going to need to install anything right this minute. But I'm going to set up a virtual environment in here. Name unit test is not defined. Did I spell it wrong? Yes, I did. That's why we test often, right? This is the most first world problem scroll I've ever seen. It very well might be. Okay, ran 0 tests. We have infinity % pass rate. It's fantastic. It's only going to go downhill from there. Okay. All right, so now the next step is to create a class. And we're going to call it test Conway. And we'll probably... Well, okay. So Yagni, I'm not going to try to prematurely optimize multiple classes. So we'll just call it test Conway. Unit test. Test case. Great. Cool. Def. What's the first thing that we want to test? Nailed it. Full test coverage, sell project, Salesforce. Oh man. If I could do that, sell it for $1 billion and then just retire. But then what would I do? I don't know what I would do. I think I'd get bored too easily. Okay. We found a good Python TDD framework. So here, actually, let me add that here. Add that. Thanks to Robert Tables. So Python has a unit testing framework built into the standard library, which is very cool. I must say, I like that a lot. We learned that, and thanks, Robert Table. Okay. Great. Create a game class that takes a numpy. I don't know how to pronounce any of this Python stuff. Numpy. Numpy sounds weird. Let's call it numpy. I'm going to categorically declare that this is numpy. And I'm not going to listen to reason. Okay, so game class that takes an numpy array as a seed. So we need to express that as a test. So, okay. Did y'all see that? What was I doing there? So I wonder if I should generalize this to not just semicolons, but like general like C-based language features, comments, curly braces, as you said, James, semicolons. Let's just keep it at semicolons, but it's gonna be a long day. Comment. And Chandu16, I will answer your question in just a second. That's a good one, and happy Monday to you. Appreciate you jumping into chat and asking. Let me define this real quick. Create a game class that takes That's right, don't call me late for dinner. It is another over-under. Test game init. Let's call it that. Self.assert. All right, well, hold on now. Let's go back. So great question. Chandu16, Conway's game of life is... I'm going to use the fancy term again. I'll share the link to the Wikipedia article here. It is referred to as a cellular automaton, but it's basically a way of defining an algorithm that simulates the cellular activity in a network. And that's sort of the way that I would oversimplify it. But there are only 4 rules to the network, and the way the network behaves is dictated pretty heavily by the size of the, original sort of board, and then also the way you initialize cells on the network. So every individual cell, if you have like a 6x6 grid, every one of those pixels is either on or off. It's either an alive or a dead cell. And then based on the 4 rules here, you make a decision about whether or not in a given round, whether or not, I didn't mean to click on that, whether or not every individual cells lives or dies. Chandu, I am not certain. Are you getting a lag? Is it just audio or is it audio and video? Because from what I can tell, things are seem to have stabilized over here. But let me know if it's still an issue. I'll take a look. Both audio and video? Okay. Stream has a mind of its own. We make peace with it. Don't call me late for dinner. You're getting stuttering on the video. James, you think it may be Twitch? Are they reporting anything on their status page? Audio is fine? Okay. All right. So what I want to do, so I'm going to do import here. Let's do this from game, import game. All right. So the first thing I'm going to get it looks real when the video stutters. Thanks to Michael Jolly. I'm glad this is optimal for you. You're getting stuttering on video, but the audio is fine. What in the world? All right, well, y'all let me know if it gets untenable. I don't have a lot. I'm not going to have so much going on video that it's going to be like a huge inconvenience, but let me know if it ends up becoming a problem. Because the Twitch inspector seems to be okay for me. But I may take a minute or two on the first bio break to see what I can potentially figure out. Okay. So let me think about this. I'm going to need to initialize the game board. Cooper Clay, good question. So your frames, it varies, honestly. And the kind of quality you get on the stream is a function of the bit rate you're trying to push up, the size of your pipe, the quality of your video, and the frame rate. So I'm only pushing at 720p. Hey, John Guyland. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not. John Guyland, thanks so much for the follow. Happy Monday. I appreciate that. And I apologize if I mangled your Twitch handle. Please feel free to correct me in chat. But Clay, it's a function of the audio and video quality, the frame rate the frame rate you're trying to push in, your bit rate. I only try to push like 25 frames, honestly, because 30, you don't need 30 or 60 frames on a coding stream. I'm not writing code that fast, and the stuff that I am running doesn't need to come across that fast. So I have found in my testing that 25 frames per second actually tends to work really well for me at about a bit rate of around 3000. But let me drop the bit rate down. Let me drop the bit rate down slightly and see if that corrects things a bit. Because the other thing, Clay, that I've noticed, the FPS is much higher than the code written precisely. Exactly, precisely. Much, much higher. But the video bitrate may, if the audio is not an issue, and the video is, then I could potentially drop my video bitrate down and see if that improves things a bit. So let's do that. So I dumped the video bitrate down just a tad. And we'll see if that works. All right, so there's a few things that I need here. I want to be able to create a... we have 11 lines of code. That's right. So far, that's a lot for almost 40 minutes into the stream, right? Why not? So James in the UK broadcasted 25 frames, 50 on fancy satellite channels. Yeah, I mean, unless I were to decide to like suddenly switch to playing, you know, Fortnite up on here. And frankly, I don't know that I don't know that I can even have the right gaming setup. I mean, if you're in, I tried to do Cuphead a couple of months ago and it was awful. Like I couldn't push crap. But I don't know if that was my setup or if there's something else going on. All right. So, let me think about this just a second. How I want to express this as a test. Fortnite, let's do Cuphead. Cuphead, yes, Cuphead is so great. I do need to stream that again one of these days. Tiger on one, thanks. I just dropped it down. So hopefully give it a few minutes. Give it a few minutes and we'll see what happens. Yeah, James, that's funny. YouTube Live. No, I don't know about that. So, all right. So I'm going to initialize a game. And we're going to... Oh, yeah. So I also need to do is import numpy. Or do I? Maybe I don't actually want to do that. I'll specify the size. Oh, no. For the purpose of testing, I do want to. All right, so we'll say this is going to be 6x6. Think about this. Okay. And then what I'm going to do for the test is self.assert equal... so let's see, game.board size. We'll just make a property called board size. And I will want that to be equal to 6x6, right? So this is gonna like all kinds of fail, which is exactly what I want it to do. Oh, yeah. How about get them red squigglies out of there, do things correctly. Okay. All right. No module name game. That's right. So let's now create a file called game.py. I have game.py. Okay, cannot port. Okay, so I've got it now. Got the module. Cannot import game. Name game from game.py. Okay. So, and let's do class game. Maybe the subclass on anything. I gotta think about. Let me refresh myself on Python class syntax. So what the constructor looks like, right? Because that's what. Yeah, there we go. Yes, well, I might as well just use the actual documentation, right? So many words! Oh, words! There we go, code. Code is what I want. Init. Oh yeah, it's underscore init. I don't need that. Right, self. And then I will do... do a default size of 6 by 6, unless you pass it in. And then we'll say self dot, let's call it width. I hate those variable names. Call it width and height. Yes, I got to make it do just enough to make the test pass, which this should be. Hold on. Yes, you're right. Let me go back and make sure I'm not doing too much here. Okay, I guess I don't need to do this yet. This should be. Expect EOF. Oh yeah. Will that work? I have to do something. All right, let's just do self.width equals width. Self.height equals height. Okay, now I have an actual fail, so that's good. Game object has no attribute board size. Correct. You know what I want to do too? Let's, because I don't want a false positive here. So I'm defaulting to 6.6. And I guess I shouldn't even do that. Whatever. Okay. Board size 1212. Okay. So now what I need to do is oh wait, no. Attribute, right? Those are attributes. I do attributes. Instance variables. That's what I want. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I actually want. I can just do it that way. Okay. Self.board size equals. Okay. Now let's run. Hey! Wait, hold on. Did it run it? Yeah, I guess it worked. We have one test passing. Right? So this will fail if I do 1012. Cool. First test passing, and we only have one semicolon so far. Okay. So that's done. That's done. Create a game. Display the initial state. Oh yeah, and I have to seed it. So this is the other thing too. Oh wait, no. This is different. It takes a numpy array as the seed. I also need to create a beacon, which is slightly different. The beacon is my initial state of on and off cells, right? So what I need to do here, so create a beacon. To represent the initial state of every cell. How do we, let's, set this here. Okay. So that's gonna be my next test. Add a beacon with a single cell active. right? So what we're gonna do here is test game init beacon. And check for invalid types, negative numbers, and floats. Yeah, you're right. Don't call me late for dinner. You're absolutely right. That's a good point. Let me make a note of that. Thank you. Check for invalid types. Very good point. All right, so now game equals, so what I want to be able to do here is game equals 12 by, let's do 6 by 6 here. And then I want to pass in a beacon. Right, so my beacon is going to be so I'm going to start with a padded NumPy array of zeros. And then I'm going to do beacon. Think about this. The right way to reference this. Beacon, so the first row and the first cell I will set to alive. All right, so I'm going to set the beacon. And then I'm going to do self.assert equal. Game beacon is the same as my beacon. It's been modified. I guess I could just pre-pad it with 0. It doesn't really matter. The whole point here is that I am specifying a beacon, and that'll be saved into the state of the game, and they'll be equal. And I'm going to run this. I know that I know I'm going to error because I haven't imported NumPy. It is from traditionally. Okay. Right. Now, what? Oh, well, yeah, I have to actually like self.assert your right to party. What's the command for the virtual environment? There we go. Yes, I do. Visual Studio support for Python is pretty nice, I gotta say. I like it a lot. All right, so I'm gonna do pip install NumPy. I said earlier I was gonna call it NumPy, and I keep calling it NumPy. I can't even be internally consistent. It says something. The requirement's already satisfied. How come I can't install it? Did I do something else dumb? What? Is it a capital U? I did enable it. Don't call me late for dinner. Visual Studio asked me if I wanted to enable it by default, and it's actually, oh yes, you know what? You may not be seeing it down here at the bottom. Let me scroll up. It is actually selected. The virtual environment is selected down here. So let's do that now. Oh wait, I'm doing it wrong. I did it. It's not the way the other one goes. Import NumPy as. I don't know. It's not a from. It's an as. No. I did it wrong. Okay. Rain 2 test 1 error. Game 6-6 beacon, and it takes 1, 2, 3 positional arguments, but 3 were given. So my next step here to get this to pass is to modify the game to take a beacon. All right. And I'm going to import NumPy here as well. Just leave me alone. Or you could just use a container with your version of Python to develop in, just saying. I know I could, Robert Tables. I know I could. And maybe I should. Okay. What did I call this? Game.beacon. So by default, my beacon is going to be, I'll just do zeros. Can I do that? Is that a legitimate default argument? Let's find out. It seems legit. Which does make me think that I need to check my defaults. So I'm adding default functionality, and I didn't actually add tests for it. So let's add that next. Because this is how I tend to do TDD. Like, I will add stuff, then forget that I'm not supposed to be doing it, and then I'll try to come back and correct myself by adding some test coverage. I don't know. Does anyone do TDD correctly? I don't. And honestly, I'll be completely honest here. Honestly, I'll be completely honest. I don't actually do TDD when I'm creating stuff day in and day out. I find it to be really useful, however, when I'm learning something new. It's a great way to explore the space in a controlled fashion. I probably should be more deliberate and diligent about doing TDD in other cases. Some people are great at it. But I test when it makes sense, and a lot of times when I'm learning something new, testing makes a ton of sense. So that's why I'm doing that today. Beacon typo. So Docker. I test soon after most of the time. So you're actually doing, Robert Table, so official Python containers, yeah. Ronan52, I did one for professional project and force requirements discussions up front, which was amazing. Yeah, and honestly, the times that I've done that too, it has been really, it's been really useful. And Robert Tables, I'm with you on that too. It can be really hard to keep up with TDD when you're bouncing around with new things, learning a lot. Definitely understand that. But Ronan, I have had those experiences as well, and it does feel really rewarding that it forces you to really think through all of the edge cases and defining this. I mean, I thought about doing TDD for this because I felt like, okay, there's some predefined rules. I'm going to need to follow them. It makes sense to take this sort of an approach with it. And I can see how that would be true in a professional context as well. Okay, yes, in .commie I saw your mention Bracken Beacon. Thank you. Thank you for thank you for catching my typo. Okay. So now let's try this again. And while we're at it, let's print my beacon. Just so we can see what that looks like. Data type not understood. Okay. So that's my fault. So that's here. Okay. All right, we can do this. but I'll add that in the test in a minute. We'll deal with that in the test in a minute. What's happening there? Okay. It failed. So here is my NumPy array, right? 6 by 6 with a 1 in position 1, 1. Redundant members. Oh, the truth value of an array with more than one element is ambiguous. Use a.any or a.all. Oh, okay. So it's an assertion problem. It's an issue with how I'm asserting. Right? Is that what you're saying? Don't call me late for dinner? What is A in this case? It's referring to assert. All right, let me go back into the unit testing. Is there's some docs on this? I got you. Don't call me late for dinner. You're saying that because I have board size, there's not really any reason for me to have width and height as separate members. Yeah, I think that's fair. And I'm not testing for it anyway, so I can take them out. Okay, so the truth value in an array with more than one element is ambiguous. Use a.any or a.all. Okay, so if I do like, is it in self.assert? No, it would be assert equal, right? It's still assert equal. But what is it? Just game.beacon.all. I'm not sure that I follow. So I gotta. Let's Google the error message, folks. Let's Google the error message. And then let's take a bio break. Oh, it's a NumPy value error. Okay. Okay, hold on here. Oh, okay. So I'll do self.assert true. Okay, so self.assert true, and then we'll do np dot, not all? Right? Hold on. Okay, that's not helping me. np.all, and then I can do game beacon. I think that's right. Yeah, I mean, don't call me late for dinner. Even if I did them as convenience properties, I would probably just, return them by just destructuring the object that's saving the width and height and board size, right? So I can just return them one at a time if I need them, but keep them there that way. So might as well keep it simple. Dang it. What should Boolean NP array false, false, true, return true because blah, 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 because at least one element is true. I just want to compare them. Just want to compare. Compare two NP arrays. Oh, there we go. Element. See, that's it. I just want element-wise equality. That's all I want. np.array underscore equal. Okay. Hey, okay. Oh. What's happening to my green screen? Okay, cool. So two passing tests. 1 hour in is a good time to take a bio break. So I'm going to take a 2-minute break. I will be right back. We'll see y'all in just a minute. Sit tight, and we're going to test for some defaults when we get back. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the bot is broken right now. Sorry about that, .commie. Chasing is not working. The bot itself is not broken. My particle device that runs the mesh network is not connected. And I don't know why. Maybe that's the reason why I'm having all kinds of other issues. Who knows? Yes, P-break. Robert Tables, Python is amazing and horrible at the same time. That's funny. James, my first job as a developer was far from TDD as you could possibly be. We would edit files on the live server, wrap bits we were working on in an if statement for the IP. I've learned a lot since that job. Okay, James, I've had that job as well. Oh man, that is not fun. This is not fun at all. And I missed it while I was gone. OSASOXAX, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. I apologize if I am not pronouncing your handle correctly, because I don't know what to do. I don't know how to pronounce that. So feel free to correct me on chat if you wish. If not, that's okay too. Thanks for the follow and thanks for coming and hanging out today. Yeah, you know, if you change your definition of unit, James, to .com. I don't know if this is a point you're trying to make .com, but you know, if your unit of code is the entire production server, you're just testing the unit. That's all. It's still unit testing. Just change the terms to suit your purposes, right? All right. So let's init with defaults. So what I want to do here is a couple of asserts. So if I do beacon, no beacon. So if I do game equals game with nothing, so assert true. Game.board size will be 6 by 6. Oh, Monday meetings, Babbitt. Sorry to hear that. Oh yeah, definitely feel free to catch up later. No problem. Hey, thank you for being here and for hanging out today. I'm trying to see. Yeah, things still seem to be okay on this end. Hopefully at least audio is still coming through pretty well. Okay, so I want to assert that. Thoughts on multiple assertions in a single test? I'm okay with it, because I'm ultimately just trying to test to make sure my defaults are good. Game.beacon. And I want to do np.zeros. So this just made me think of another test. So let's see. See, this is the thing about TDD. Don't call me late for dinner. You made this comment earlier. Like, I'm bad about this stuff too, because you get to all of these cases of like, okay, well, actually, I also need to do a test where if I pass in the board size but not the beacon, then the default beacon will be based on the board size that gets passed in. So I need to add a test for that too, for default board size on set beacon. Hey Joe, how you doing, man? Welcome in. Happy Monday to you. Multiple assertions in a test can be problematic for sure. I feel like these are conceptually similar enough that I could get away with it. I mean, and I am gonna get away with it because it's just, I'm just writing this code and no one else will ever consume it. So I get away with a lot of things. But I am interested to hear if there are folks that have opinions on where that line is in terms of where you should avoid multiple assertions in a test. Yeah, so here, data type not understood. Because it's a none, right? Is that why? Okay. So if... what's the Pythonic way to do this? Isn't it like... null check. There's I came across this recently. I want to make sure I do this right. There's a terse way to do a null Python check, or a null check in Python, or a none check. Is it val is none? Is that it? All right. And what? So if beacon is none, I will do, again, just enough to make it pass. So self.beacon. Let's do it this way. Is that right? Is that right? Data type not understood. What's the data type that's not understood? So can I not? Oh. Am I just misspelling this? Oh, crud. No, it's the NP zeros. Okay. I need to actually initialize that properly. I think if not beacon is better since you can check for falsy values too. Is that what it is? If not beacon? And hey, recursive chat, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. I appreciate the comment and thanks for chatting in on Monday, on this Monday afternoon. All right, if not beacon works for me. All right, 2 errors. Data type not understood still. Oh, it's because I did it wrong here too. I need to actually like. Again. Oh yeah, I have to like. Okay. Need to remember to do this properly. There we go. That's assert true. And this actually should be assert equal. There we go. Okay, if not beacon, truth value. Okay, so line 16. All right, so now it's giving me an error when I actually set the beacon. So because this is meant to be so is there a way to check in NumPy? Is there like if not np dot? Let's get the. Let's look at the NumPy reference. Is there a way to actually check for none? Because I could come in here and just set it in the default. Now I realize what my issue was here earlier, but I know that I'm going to write. Well, here. So let's just okay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do this just to make the test pass. Is that right? What's this go to? Okay. And then we'll come in and refactor. Okay, test pass. For my 6x6, right? But what I want to do now is def test game init board default beacon. All right, so game equals game, and here I'm going to do a 12 by 12. And the return that I want here is to have game.beacon be 12 by 12 and not 6 by 6, which is the default that it's gonna get because of how things are running right now. Right, one fail. False is not true. That's correct. It's true. It's not true. Accurate. So I need to go back to allowing this to be set to none, like I had before. What we had here before was if not... Is there a way to create like a... Fake news. Hey now. I mean, if beacon is none, self.beacon equals np zeros, and then we'll just do self.board size. Otherwise, the beacon that gets passed in. Hey, and that worked. Okay, cool. So recursive chat, I think if not beacon was giving me a weird numpy error. I don't know if that was me or what. If not bacon. If not bacon, then more bacon is the answer to that one. It worked. Cool. All right. So what do we have so far? We have basically 8 lines of code that allow me to pass in a width and height for a board size, and then an initial beacon that represents the state of the board for Conway's Game of Life, right? Typo. So, I'm looking at my list here. So create a game, create a beacon. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is create something to display the initial state. I'm going to think of how I can do that TDD style. Robert Tables, what does beacon look like as a data structure? I will show you. That was actually the next thing that I was going to do. No, we do know. There's 2 ways that I can show you. One way is I'm going to think about the right way to do this. Maybe there's not really a right way. We can refresh it later. But let's actually create, here. I'm trying to think of the right way to test this, but let's just do this now. Show the current beacon. So I don't know, I'm gonna think of how I can actually verify this, but basically the way that it's gonna work is test game so I'm going to do a game of (12 by 12) and we're going to do, here's what we're going to do real quick. So I'm going to start with an initial array of 12 by 12 with 1. I'm going to do, here's what we'll do. Two, and 3, 3. We'll set those 3 to 1. And then we're going to call game dot show beacon. I don't know quite how to test this. Because what should it return? All right, so this is when I'm going to break from TDD a little bit. Or is there a way to just do like... self dot... I can assert a log. Hey, Frackberg, morning. Happy Monday to you. Hope you had a good weekend. I know, James, how dare I break the rules a little bit. Well, I'm trying to think about well, not is instance, no. Assert. What does assert logs do? No, okay. I don't want to do that. What's my assert here going to be? Ugh, well, I feel... Okay. See, this is one of those areas where TDD kind of messes me up a little bit because I'm now adding functionality for the purpose of getting a result, which a purist would argue means that maybe I need to rethink the way that I'm doing this. Right? Okay. All right, I'm gonna run this again. Did it fail? Object has no attribute, show beacon. So let's create another function. Call it def show beacon. And what we're gonna do here is so first I'm going to import matplotlib pyplot as plt. So we're basically going to just graph, we're going to plot out every step along the way. No, Robert Tables, you're right. This is getting into UI testing or integration testing. So bear with me for a second, because while you're right, I also want to have the ability to just, well, and maybe I don't need to test this specifically. Maybe we can have a separate fixture that runs. We don't call it test, we just call it like run.py or something like that. Yeah, as a unit test, you just test the function inputs and returns. Side effects like drawing to a screen is more of an integration concern. You're right. You're absolutely right. So maybe this is not necessary strictly. AZ Bowler 32, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Happy Monday to you. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. Feel free to say hi in chat or feel free to lurk if you prefer that instead. Cooper Clay, am I writing this for a specific piece of hardware? I'm not right now. I will get to that point. But if I can keep this relatively, and actually maybe, Clay, maybe that's actually a good point. If I keep the game separate from how it's actually rendered, hey, AZ Bowler, thanks for saying hi. I appreciate it. Thanks again for the follow. Clay, I don't know if this is your question, but maybe what I need to do in this case is actually abstract the game class away from how it's actually being rendered. And for the purposes of this, we'll just have a separate Python script that runs through the game and draws every step out. But then when it actually comes time to port it, because what I want to do eventually is actually take this game and move it onto a CircuitPython powered board, re-implement it in C for Particle, Something along those lines. And in those cases, I wouldn't be using matplotlib. I'd be using a screen, like a TFT display or something different, right? Don't call me late for dinner. You wrote the Game of Life in MicroPython on an ESP8266. That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I will do that. I will do that eventually. I'm looking forward to doing that. That'll actually be a lot of fun. But all right, y'all have me kind of thinking out loud, but this is good. This is why we do these things, right? I am actually not going to do any of the display stuff here. We're going to do that separately. So we'll do a little bit of like TDD, but then also we'll keep doing on the TDD style, and then go through sort of visualizing things through through steps as well. So back to your question a little bit ago, Robert Tables. If I wanted to visualize this, and I won't, we'll just do this, we'll kind of cheat for now. The way that this ends up looking, just as an array of numbers, I'll print this out so you can see it. It looks like this. So this is a 12 by 12 array. Oh, I thought I went into... Oh, duh. I have to like actually pass in the beacon as well. Okay, this is a 12 by 12 array. And you'll notice that I've gone in and I've actually set a few of these cells to 1. So every individual cell is going to be on or off. We'll do 0 to represent the cell being off, 1 to represent the cell being on. And we'll draw it out that way. And yeah, on a PyPortal, you're absolutely right. I think it would actually be pretty cool on a PyPortal. So that's in the back of my mind as something I want to do for sure. Don't call me late for dinner. I don't think you'll get NumPy in a MicroPython though. That's a fair point. But I think you could get it. You did it in MicroPython. I wonder if CircuitPython actually has support for NumPy. I'm sure someone has asked. NumPy isn't available. And that's okay. I mean, so there are others. So that's actually a valid point. I may have to like re-implement. I'm already planning on re-implementing this on C, C++ for particles. So I wouldn't have NumPy in those cases. So convenience functions like np.zeros and things like that, I would need to re-implement by hand. They're not hard things to do. I just need to like go through and do it. For now, I will use the power of Python to save me. So Robert Tables, this is what this looks like. And now what I want to do is actually visualize it. So I'm gonna create a separate file. We're gonna call this run.py. So we'll do this separate from the test, and we'll use matplotlib for this. So import game from game, import game. Lib, oh wait. Because matplotlib actually has some cool visualizations, and I think this will help visualize the way the game works, and there's some cool animation stuff. The power of Python compels me. Yes, it does, Frackberg. This is a hardware-free day for the most part. We're just writing some Python code, implementing Conway's Game of Life. Because reasons. Because we can. PyPlot as PLT. So in this case, what I can do, let me pull my Cheeto test code over here. And we'll do this. So we'll create a beacon and the game. And then we will do plot imshow, and we will call it game.beacon. And we'll do just as a binary. So y'all, I know this is a bit of a diversion, but I have a reason for this. Plot.show, right? So now if I run.py, NP. Oh yeah. Imports. NP. There we go. So this is a much better visualization of Robert Tables, which is why I was thinking about the UI piece of this. Because the sort of bare bones, like command line UI for this that I want to have is to show this image every single run through. As I go through here and apply the rules, the way that you create these visualizations is by showing every single step as you go through and iterate. So I start with this, and then what does it look like the next time around, etc. So on a fairly regular basis, I want to come back to this so that we can see it. But Robert Tables and the rest of you all, because I'm sure you were thinking this as well, you're absolutely right. I want to keep my testing, my unit testing, separate from how I'm actually going through and visualizing this on the run side. So 100% agree. Thank you all for keeping me honest. I appreciate it. Fragberg, I can fizzbuzz in Python, but that's about it. Man, I can't even do that. That's why we're here today. As much as I love hardware, did everyone back the giant board yet? And Clay, you're absolutely right. Grobard was on here earlier, and I asked him how things are going with the giant board. I forgot to follow up. 61% funded. Awesome. Good stuff. So I shared this last Monday. I'll share it again. Everybody, friends, fellow streamers, friends, folks hanging out on chat, please support our friend Grobard's project on Crowd Supply. This is a Adafruit Feather form factor compatible Linux-based single board computer. You got to check it out. Please, please do. All right. Anyway, Clay, starting with text instead of graphic libraries is a really smart way of doing it. Oh, thanks. Well, I appreciate that. It's like the only smart idea that I've had all year, but I'll take it. I'll take it. James, implemented in Pygame? Maybe. I'm still trying to wrap my head around Pygame. I played with it a little bit over the weekend when I was totally disconnected. I mean, very, very little bit. I could do it in that. And that might be kind of cool. Okay. All right. So back on my test, let's think about what's next here. So I am actually showing it. Let's see, run the game with a single cell on. Okay, now it's actually time to apply some rules. To my pretzel again. All right, so I'm going to take all this. I'm going to take this business out. So run the game for one iteration on a single cell. So we're going to additively apply these rules bit by bit. So we know from the Fancy Pants helpful Wikipedia article that any live cell with fewer than 2 live neighbors dies as if by underpopulation. So the way that this is going to work, let's see, def test game with single cell, is that the game will only run one iteration. Any configuration that has any number of cells that don't have any contiguous neighbors will die. And this is where things are going to get interesting, because we're actually going to have to start doing some comparisons between neighbors and whatnot. And this is where my brain's going to start melting. So TDD should definitely help us. So we're actually going to make our lives simple and just do a 3x3 grid. And then yeah, single cell here at 1, 1. Okay. So what I ultimately want to, there's a few things that I want to do here is so I don't know that I want to do an out and out run yet. So maybe we'll need a function that just runs one step forward. That's probably not a bad idea to have, right? So what we'll do next is we'll call it game.step. Okay, so my beacon is my starting state, right? I wonder if I should need to have a separate object that represents the current state of the universe, the current state of the game. Right, so we'll do something like self.assert true. np dot, no. So game.universe. Let's call it game.state. I don't like that term. So game.state, and then this will be an np0s 3x3. So this will be an empty array because the cell has died once we've run one time through. Oh crud, I need to like close that. No, no. Stop. Okay, game has no attribute step. Okay, well, let's make that part pass. Okay, step takes 0 position. Oh yeah, sorry. Self. Gotta self it. Run into that one many times. Game has no attribute state. That we would do here as well. And it kind of makes me wonder if, well, okay, so there's value in having the beacon as the, so let's set the initial state as the beacon. So it'll only be true at the beginning. Go with me, I might revisit this later. The state will change over time, but we'll always have access to the original beacon, which maybe we need? Maybe? All right, run the test again. Okay. Oh, did I mess up my test again? Oh yeah, I needed to do this. np.array equal. What? Oh. See, there you go. Gotta actually pass in the beacon. This is why. That's why you just write a little bit at a time and then run the test. And when it passes and you want it to fail, that can be just as concerning. Okay, false is not true. Indeed it is not. So if I'm being like an absolute TDD purist here, which I'm not, the way that I should go next here would be to actually just return. Let me take this over here. Would be to return np0s 3.3 to make the test pass. But we already, like, that feels like a bit much. This is where I kind of try to strike a little bit of balance. Like, okay, yes, if I return 0, it makes the test pass. And now I need to bring in sort of another edge case. Like, I would rather at this point write the code that I know that I'm going to need right now in order to get this to actually pass. So that's what we're going to do. So when I run game.step, what I need to do is, and actually shouldn't return none here, but the way that I could, okay, so again, so TDD purist approach would be self.state np.zeros 3, right? Or back to my width and height. Self.board size, right? If I'm taking like the true, that approach will give me a passing test. But then I have to like start creating a whole bunch more tests to try to make it fail. And I already know, yeah. So I don't want to do that. I do want to get self.state it needs to get back into a place where I start applying some of these rules, right? So this is ultimately what I want to do. I want to have this set to so I need to run over, sorry, my thoughts are like partially in my head and partially out here for y'all. I need to basically enumerate over every element and check its neighbors. This is how this is going to work. So enumerate over every element and determine its number of neighbors, right? Each cell interacts with its 8 neighbors, which are cells that are horizontally, vertically, or diagonally adjacent. So if, for instance, let me just scratch this out here. If I have 0, 0, 0, let's just assume that this is an array. 0, 0. I'm having to think out loud here. 0, 1, 0. Oh, and you know what? Here, I'm gonna make this test a little bit easier on myself. We're gonna do 1. No, it's 1, 1. Yeah. So 1, 1 is basically the center of my 3 by 3. This will make this initial implementation a little bit easier. 0, 0. Right? This 1 has 8 neighbors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically, I need to check from my current position everything forward, everything above, everything to either side, and everything below that touches that cell, right? Yeah. This is making y'all's brains hurt yet? Because it's making mine. It's making mine hurt. This is basically 2 loops, right? Yeah. So Python. So what's the best way to enumerate over NumPy arrays? So it gives me an XY. Yeah, it gives me an iterator with pairs of array coordinates and values. Index X, index, index, index. Hi, Surly Dev, how you doing? 4x equals -1 to 1, or y equals -1 to 1. Yeah, so that's ultimately what I want to do, right? Oh, hold on. Yeah, Surly Dev, I want to check the state of each cell. I'm good. I'm good. So I'm implementing Conway's Game of Life in Python today. Oh, good. You got the socks. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Hopefully they fit well. They're nice, comfy socks. I like them. I guess I don't... Yeah, so for... This is what I want in the multi-dimensional index iterator. For index... This is not... For xy and np.nd enumerate. Right, self dot state. Okay, let's print. Run this. Surly Dev. Yes, I want to count how many of the neighboring cells have population. Yes, that's ultimately what I want, is a count. So I'm going to start with each item in the list. For that item, so I probably need to, like, maybe map this out for myself a little bit more so I can make sense of it. For each, let me pseudocode it a bit. For each item, check. Yeah, I guess I don't need to pseudocode it because now I'm just describing it, right? Yeah. I got you, Surly Dev. So if x is greater than 1, then... Oh, this is not. Why are you setting start x to -1? I guess that's the part that I'm not following. So I have a reference cell, like let's say that it's 0, 0. Then for the 4x equals start x to end x. I gotta be honest, I am marginally with you. Because I would then check cell xy. Right. Okay, let me think about this. Stretch. Start x otherwise 0. If y equals greater than 1, then start y equals otherwise 1. Yep. If x... X is not the x index, but the index tuple pair. Yeah, is that right? El Chefe, thanks for the comment. I appreciate the question. Do 1, 1 first. I'm feeling very dense today. Which means this is probably a good time for me to take a bio break. So we'll take bio break number 2 while I walk and think about this. I have a walk back to my house to the bathroom, and then I'll come back out here to the office, and maybe it will all make sense to me. I appreciate Surly Dev. I think I get where you're going. So y'all give me 2 minutes. I'll be right back, and we'll keep going on this. I'm back. Strict Zero. Stream seems a bit laggy still, huh? Yeah. I'm gonna need to do some more testing on my end off stream, so I'm done today. Reports I've gotten are that audio seems to be okay. I am back. I'm back. Audio seems to be okay, although a few folks are noticing some video lags. I've got things tuned as usual on my end, so I'm not sure what's going on, but I appreciate you mentioning that. Hopefully the audio will continue to hold up and the video won't be too bad. Okay, so, and your other comment, Strict Zero, which by the way, I appreciate that. Seems all very complicated. I just manually create a tuple with 8 index offset pairs and so on. Then iterate over that tuple and then check every cell with the base index plus the index from the tuple. And maybe that's actually what Surly Dev is getting at, actually, now that you mention it. Yeah, the video is the problem. All right. Right, so for every single one of these, okay, so this is basically what I want to do. Okay, I think I got it now. I'm going to start with that Strict. I think y'all are kind of recommending the same thing, but I'll start with that path. So for each cell, check 8 neighbors. And turn on or off. Basically what I want to do for each one of these cells, right? Oh, Surly Dev. Code shares. This is great, and I appreciate it. Just so y'all know, I am very much a more visual thinker than anything, so it's hard for me to visualize some of this stuff just in chat. But let's take a look at this. Surly Dev, are you in here typing like right now? Yeah, all right. So if x equals 1, y equals 1, check. I'm with you. Hi there. Oh, this is pretty funny. Okay, Surly Dev, I think, and I really appreciate you sharing that. Okay. Yeah, so what you're basically doing is for each one of these, you're doing a check cell. You're calling the check cell function. The check cell function is then yeah. Oh, I will. I will refactor as necessary. But this is really helpful. I think I'm with you. So for each one of these, I will call check cell. I will return, yep, a number of neighbors. This is perfect. Yeah, and then if check cell is x, the number of neighbors. Yeah, yep. Ignore check x and check y equals 0. Oh. All right, let's do it. So then basically what I'm going to do is self.checkCell. Yeah, check cell XY. Well, let's just call it. For those of you all that are Python aficionados, if I were to create, if I'm creating a utility function that I don't want to be accessible on the class, do I just put it outside of the class? Like, is that all I do? Or do I actually put it as underscore on the class itself? I'm going to assume you put it outside. Like you would do something like this. Right? So what I'm going to say here is if number of neighbors or prefix with the underscore. Would you also prefix it with the underscore? I suppose I could do both. Right, so if my number of neighbors is less than, what's my rule here? So prefix with underscore in the class is fine if you only need it in the class, which I mean I would think that's true. Okay. Don't worry about it, Surly Dev. I appreciate it. The algorithm is what I need. Like I can hack this into the appropriate Python for sure. But this is helpful. I appreciate it. Okay, so my rules are any cell with fewer than 2 live neighbors dies. All right. So if self number of neighbors is less than 2. then what I am doing is one thing that I need to be careful of here is that in the case of Conway's Game of Life, that the actual state is not applied until everything has iterated through. So I need a copy of the state. I don't want to modify the state directly. Will that work if yeah. Because you want to evaluate the state of every individual cell for the next step based on its current value. So if I go through and I start modifying things in place, it's going to jack up. It's going to jack up the state. Right? So what I want to create is processing state and have that be self.state. And that should work. If I modify processing state, it's not going to yeah, I need to have a processing state that represents what I'm doing in the moment, and then at the end apply self.state to processing state. That's the end of my step. If that makes sense. So if self.number of neighbors is less than 2, so then what I will do is processing state xy will be equal to 0. Turn it off. That's all I need to do for now. We'll come back to the other stuff later. All right, let me just make sure syntactically that everything here works. Okay. Self. I forget that self. I always forget that self. Yeah, certainly does. So processing state is what I want to work on intermediate, and then I'll copy the whole thing over as a way to finish the step. So that I'm not messing. Oh, wait. Yeah, you're right. Sorry. You're absolutely right, Surly Dev. I want to enumerate the current state and set a new processing state. That's my intermediate step. Thank you. Oh, I didn't mean to run it. I don't want to run it. Oh, no, run. Just run test.py. Oh, yeah. Only integers, slices. Oh, yeah. All right, valid indices. Am I doing something wrong with the indices? So strict 0, processing state equals self.state does not make a copy. So it is reference passing. Okay. So then how do I make a copy? Python, how do I... Like, how do I actually do like just a shallow copy? And certainly, Dev, to your question, yes. And the test that I'm trying to get to pass right now, I don't know that I want to go all the way to just like checking individual neighbors. I mean, I think for me, the small step is a single run. I know it doesn't seem like a small step, but a single run with a single active cell should result in an array of complete zeros because that active cell has no neighbors. But what you're suggesting is that we actually take the TDD approach of I mean, I do have a predetermined grid. I think that's effectively what I'm doing. Is what you're suggesting. It just doesn't seem that easy because I'm having to go through and implement the check on every single cell. But that's the simplest step here, is checking all 8 neighbors. Oh, is it just a copy module? There's a thing. There's a module called copy. Does that work? Apparently so. Shallow copy. Strick, if you write a function to count the number of neighbors, it makes sense to have a test for this function. I suppose so, but then at that point, aren't we then actually adding functionality to the public object that we don't really need other than for the purpose of testing it? This is where the TDD stuff kind of, I feel like it trips me up a little bit. So I don't disagree with you guys, with Surly Devin Strick, or you folks. What I'm trying to understand is whether or not that's necessary. Well, I mean, you could argue that's necessary, and I totally get where y'all are coming from. I'm trying to think through the fact that it's not functionality that we would need to access outside of the class normally. And so to make it accessible for the purpose of testing sort of feels awkward to me, if that makes sense, you know? Hey, Brendonius, how you doing? No, not disagreement. I mean, I think if there's any disagreement, it's like everybody else thinking sanely and me not thinking sanely. Surly Dev, initialize a board where 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 2 are populated. Then call check cell 1, 1, and you should assert that you get 2 back. Okay, Surly. I mean, Strick, you're right. That's fair. Everything is public. You're right. That's a valid counterpoint. Everything is public, so there's no reason that I can't call it in a test. So I'm with you all. All right. You talked me into it. I am willing to try because, you know, what harm is there in trying? So let's actually create a new test. Ronin 52, what functionality are you adding for testing that you wouldn't have normally? Well, I mean, okay, so to Strick's point, not anything, because it's a public member anyway, so I might as well just embrace that. That's good. I mean, this is where y'all are helping me understand how this is supposed to work in the Python world, so I really appreciate it. All right, so I'm going to do what you suggested, Surly Dev. Initialize a board where 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 2 are populated, then call check cell 1, 1, and you should assert that you get a 2 back. Brendonius, you can talk about whether or not you're streaming this evening here. You're more than welcome to. I'd be happy for you to. All right, so test, check cell. All right. We'll do a check cell with one neighbor. That is fine. So game equals, oh wait. All right, and I'm gonna No, Ronan, you weren't the one missing something. It was me. It was this guy. I was the one missing something. But that's okay. I mean, it's what I do. I miss things. Y'all are helping me understand how to do this correctly. So, all right, I'm going to skip the NP initialization here and just go straight into... So with one neighbor, so we'll do 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, and 0, 0, 0. That look right? If not, if poorly formatted. Okay, so 3 by 3 and beacon. Oops. Okay, so then now what we're gonna do, self.assert true. Well, assert equal. Game dot, what do we call it? Game dot number, num neighbors. We'll check this on 1, 1. And that should be equal to one neighbor exactly. And then let's get rid of this. All right. So it returned to 0 because I'm hard coding a return to 0 at this point. Now I can do the check that Surly Dev offered, which I do appreciate it. Okay. So we're gonna do. And Surly Dev, I'm going to try to transpose this over here. We'll do a start with a start x of 0, start y of 0, and we will do we'll initialize neighbors to 0 as well. So if x is greater than 0, start x equals 1. If y is greater than 0, start y equals 1. Check the bottom bound. Okay. Oh, I got you. -1 on lines 8. Ah, sorry. Thank you. Oh, it doesn't like me doing that. So I'm going by offsets, -1 to go left and up, 1 to go right and down. That makes sense. That makes sense. So that's the way you're doing the checks. For the individual cell. So if your checks for max Y and max, this is just pseudocode, right? So max Y and max X is basically just a 0 or 1 check, right? At that point. Let me think about this for a second. Oh, the number of columns. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yes. So self dot board size. How do I do that? Right? No, they're not. I don't have square grids. I mean, it's columns and rows, and you can basically set that here, right? So the board size is basically just width and height. And so in this case, I'll get, yeah, I'll get my bottom bound here. No, I don't want to have only square grids though. They can't. I don't think they have. I don't think according to the rules they can only be square grids. It's two-dimensional, any 2 dimensions. So I mean, you know, we can adjust accordingly. That's fine. I'm not too concerned about that. Right. So index is going to be ny self.board size. Oh wait, I've got it backwards, right? Okay. So if y is less than the end, then index equals 1. If x, oh wait, y equals, oh I got you. Say index to 1, and if x is greater than y, is that right? Hold on, now I'm getting confused. Something about this is really messing with my head. I'm having a very hard time grasping what's actually going on. Okay, y is less than, okay, okay, all right. Thank you, Surly Dev. I got myself messed up. Not bad. Okay. So then here we say 4. Surly Dev, not sure why I never think this clearly when I'm working on my projects, right? The Michael Jolly should have used TypeScript. Hey, I'm about as comfortable in TypeScript as I'm in Python, which is to say not really at all. So this is just an exercise in me doing something that I don't do a lot in a language that I'm not super comfortable with. Strick, that's a good question. I am not meaning to slice that. What I want to get is the board X value and the board Y value from the initial board size here, right? So what's the way for me to do that? My board size represents 2 values, a width and a height. I want the width in one and the height in the other. So do I just say the Michael Jolly? I know. Okay, so literally like array values. So this is what. Thank you, Strick. I appreciate that. Again, Python noob. Guy has no idea what he's doing. Figuring it out as he goes. Okay. All right, so now this for loop. Michael Jolly, 60% of my C++ comes from stealing my particle examples. Stealing, borrowing, you are welcome to them. I am happy to give them to you. El Chefe, end XY -1 since it's offset versus size, or is it not zero based? No, it is zero based. Are you talking about here where I actually do the checks? Stealing, borrowing, recycling, that's right. That's exactly right. So why is there Python stuff at W3 schools? I've noticed that a few times over the last few months. I mean, I do while start x less than end x. Okay, so in here what you're doing is you're actually checking the individual value. Oh, and you're doing a null check on as long as they don't, both check x and check y don't equal 0. Yeah. I don't think this works in Python. But whatever, let's go for it for a second while I do this. So, all right. So then if, all right, so now I'm checking the individual. Okay. So here, oh yeah, checking state. If self.state x plus check x. Yep. Oh, right. Yeah. I don't want to check the center cell. I understand, Surly Dev. I think this is actually kind of starting to click now. Yeah. Let's check x. Oh, yeah. Y plus check y. It's 1. That's what I'm checking. If self.state equals 1, then neighbors plus equals 1. Okay. Boy, oh boy. I don't know if that's going to work. I think it makes it, what you have written, Surly Dev, I greatly appreciate it. I'm sure I have botched the implementation somehow. Move fast. Check X is not defined. Oh yeah, sorry. Because I need to actually initialize check X and check Y. So while loop's not going to work here. I need to... No, I meant to do... I need to do a for loop, Surly Dev, and not a while loop. Which is what I meant to do. I don't remember how to do for loops in Python correctly. Okay, there we go. Okay. For check X. In range. Now I remember. Yeah. The answer, Surly Dev, is I wasn't doing it. I wasn't not doing it for any good reason. That's checky. Okay. Oh, oops. See, the squigglies went away for the X because I did it correctly. Okay. List object is not callable. Line 32. Oh, you're commenting on my other error. Okay, so why can't, what does that mean? List object is not callable. Self.state x, y, oh. List indices must be integers or slices, not tuples. What? Yeah, I fixed line 32. Okay, well, self.state is my beacon. Python pros out there, help me understand syntactically what I'm doing wrong here. Because this is where the old, like, where Python's use of parentheses and angle brackets and all, I mean, this is still something that trips me up. Yes, it would instead write. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. Oh, you're right. Thank you, Strict Zero. Thank you, because, yeah, because this is actually a multi-dimensional array of single values. It's not, yeah, thank you. Correct. Math, array stuff, hard, man. Okay. So I'm still getting a 0, even though my syntax is correct. What am I testing for? I want number of neighbors to be 1. Okay, before I forget, I need to give lots of credit to Surly Dev and for the live coding help. I greatly appreciate both of y'all stepping in and helping out, especially as we work through each of this. Okay. Yes, I can put in some debugging code. I was just thinking about doing that. Surly Dev, and I think what I will do is, yeah, let's do print. What's a 3-way pair programming session called? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna keep myself family friendly here. I'll do X. We'll print out X and Y. See what we get. The old. No. We absolutely could try programming. We can, El Chefe. I can start up a debug session here, and I will in just a sec. So run these real quick, because I think that's definitely the way to do it. 0, 0, 0. All right, let's do a debug session here. We can do it. I can add a Python debug configuration. It's Visual Studio Code after all. It's no big deal. Come on. Assuming it's going to work. Oh, but you know what? Actually, I need to set my debug on not this file. It needs to be on test.py. Yes, the currently active file. There we go. I'll get back to there in a second, Surly Dev. Okay. All right, I don't want to mess with this right now. Having to deal with, why would that not? Here, let me know launch config. All right, sir, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing, 22 minutes left in the stream and I got a hard stop at 3, unfortunately. So I am not going to mess with that. Now all of a sudden, oh, this is in the debug console. Oh, so I should be able to do this now. I just got to install it. Yeah, Surly Dev, I'll get to it. Numpty. Okay. So, all right, we're in. We are running a debug session. That actually wasn't too bad. I am at check X -1, check Y of -1. So check X, so in this case I should be here, right? So I will step into the next line. So here's the state of my object. So X is 1, Y is 1. Right, let me go into my test. Let me think about something here real quick. Where's my... So I'm testing the number of neighbors at 1, 1. Numpty Dumpty. Very nicely done, Robert Tables. Okay, so if X, so this is 0, this is 0. So in that case, I should be, no, okay. Check X, in this case, -1, check Y, 0. Oh, this should be an OR. Surely, Dev, this needs to be an OR. Right? No, sorry. It's an AND. They're both 0. So why did it do that? 0, -1. It actually didn't go to my next line here. It skipped over. In this case, check X and check Y are 0. Yeah, that's right. But I don't know if you noticed earlier, it should skip right now, but it's actually not skipping. It's skipping too often. Look, let me run it again. Yeah, no, I know. I understand, Surly Dev. It's going along the rows line by line. What I'm saying is, I have, okay, so in this case, X is -1 and Y is -1, which means I should stop on my next breakpoint here. Right, so I stop on this breakpoint, self.state, and in this case, X is 1 plus check X, so I'm checking cell 0, 0, 0, the very first cell. right? And now I'm back. And so I'm going to continue down, and in this case, check X is -1, and check Y is 0. So I should go right down into the next line, and I go right back up. So I think my syntax is wrong. Right, strict 0, that's exactly what I'm saying. The condition is incorrect. And that's what I'm trying to wrap my head around why it's incorrect. If check X is not equal 0, so if it's -1 or 1, is it a syntactic condition issue, strict 0? Like, does Python not like the not equals business? Is there a different way I need to do that? So if checks, do I need to say like if check X is not? Is it that? Yeah. Yep. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Not equals. Thank you. No, Surly Dev, that's not valid Python syntax, I don't think. That was what I was looking for, was the not. The syntax is fine, the logic feels wrong. So yeah. So if check X and check Y both cannot be 0, then I'll proceed. All of this feels wrong. Robert Tables, you just described the last 3 hours for me. This has definitely been an exercise in me stretching myself well beyond my comfort zone. So I have no clue how to do half of this crap in Python. Why is it not hitting my breakpoint? Oh, I'm in the wrong file. See? No, Surly Dev, that's not it. If I wasn't listening to you, I wouldn't even be remotely anywhere close to where I am with this right now. Okay. So in this case, -1, it should hit the check. Right? And skip over. Here, let's do a watch. I'm gonna add this as a watch. Where's my watch? Watch. Watch this expression. False. Okay. Move forward. Okay, now it's true. We're in the right place. Right, so let's actually also add a watch for neighbors. I'm being careful about this. I think we got it working. But I want to be sure. Neighbors plus equals 1. Great. So that should only fire that one time. So false. No, that's the center check. Oh, but it's skipping over that one. Woo! Rock on! That worked. Right, y'all? That worked, right? Go back into my test console. Yeah. Nice. Surly Dev and Strict Zero, you both are fantastically awesome, and I appreciate y'all giving me some help there. Because this should now work regardless of where my... Right? So... Kapow is right, Dakami. Thank you. So 1, 2 should give me a number of neighbors of 0. Why is 1, 2? Oh no, that's right. 1, 2 has 2 neighbors. So I was wrong. I was wrong. So let's actually add that as another test. One more test. 1, 2 should give me 2 neighbors, right? Because, so 1, 0, 1, 2 is this. So it has 1 neighbor to the side and 1 neighbor diagonally up. So that's a value of 2. Boom. Fantastic. I was so wrong. I was so wrong, but you all helped me and made it right, which is great. So, all right, El Chefe, try 0, 0, 1. So you want me to try a one-dimensional beacon? Is that what you're saying? Why not? We got a few extra minutes. I do, in 12 minutes, I have a meeting, so like I'm gonna need to stop about 5 minutes before the hour, and we'll find somebody to raid. So let me actually pull up. I will take suggestions on who to raid. Oh, Dev Chatter. We could raid Brindonius. I haven't raided over to Dev Chatter in a while, so let's actually raid to them. We'll do that here shortly. All right, so test single. This is definitely going to fail, El Chefe. Or I think it probably will. Single row. Okay. So Surly Dev, and now all makes perfect sense now that I've actually implemented that. I was being very dense. I apologize. It took me like an hour on the stream for me to figure out what it is, what it was you were talking about. But so is it actually one? It'd be a one by one. Clipped. All right, I'm gonna have, you got a clip. I'm gonna have to look at that later. Funny. All right, so self dot assert equal for game dot num neighbors should be can run 2 tests on this. If I'm doing 1, 0, 2, the answer should be 0. Thank you, Surly Dev. 2 neighbors, yes. Okay. Right? Game. Oh, gamer. All right, let's run this now. Right. So that fails on a single dimensional, on a one-dimensional array. Which, okay, so to be fair, according to Conway's game of life, according to the rules, this is supposed to be a 2-dimensional grid. Like you can't initialize, you shouldn't be able to initialize a game with 0, like with 1 row. If you can't troll your friends, are you even really living? That's right. Those are words of wisdom. Words of wisdom, Robert Tables. However, El Chefe, if this was the intention of your making the comment, understand logic on line 37 and 39? What do you mean? So Surly Dev, if you were to stack this would be easier if it was visualized as stacked. I'm looking at the second row, the third column. This has 2 neighbors. the one immediately next to it, and then the diagonal item up here. Which cell is 1, 2? This one. This one right here. So it has 2 neighbors. Sorry, I'm highlighting the 0, but it's literally... Stop Visual Studio Code. It's this. I don't know if you can see my mouse. It's this one right here. That has 2 neighbors next to it and diagonally. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. Let's have another bug there. Oh, Strict. So you're actually saying a single cell... a single element 3-dimensional array. 3-dimensional, sorry. Still a 2D array, but with 3 rows of a single element. Yeah, we could do that too. I mean, I presume that that's also going to fail. It does mean, and this goes to the null check, I think somebody made the comment of doing null checks earlier. I should actually, this would be more of a single column. List index out of range. So I still do need to check that I get the right values passed in for the game, right? When I'm actually doing initializing the board with width and height, that I don't get 1, 0, right? 0 value should not be valid. Let me take out my prints here. But that's where I'm going to stop, because it's actually 5 minutes to the hour, so we're going to raid. Hopefully y'all had a lot of fun. This was actually a ton of fun for me. I learned a lot. If you were here for 5 minutes or the entire 3 hours, hopefully you learned that I am not great at Python, but I've learned a ton through this experience. The TDD story in Python is really easy to use, so I'm really happy about that. We have a handful of tests. What do we have? 6 tests that we implemented, 7 tests, one of which is still failing, and some basic functionality for initializing a game and then figuring out the number of neighbors on an individual cell. I will commit this to GitHub. This will be in my GitHub repo today when I actually post the stream notes. So you'll be able to find them there. You will also be able to, I'll post those to my blog, which is at breakingthings.io. You'll be able to find the stream notes and the GitHub repo there later today once I get the video uploaded and everything. Yeah, thanks, Robert Tables. I appreciate it. It was awesome. It was fun. A lot of cool to do, or a lot of fun stuff working. I can't speak. I'm definitely done streaming. My vocabulary has gone to 0. And I can definitely transfer this to CircuitPython and AdaBox, which is my plan. So should be fun. We'll keep working on this next week. In the meantime, thank y'all for hanging out. Have a great rest of your week. I'll see you on other streams and around different places. I'm going to raid into Dev Chatter, so please hang around for a little bit. Let's stop over and say hi. Thanks again. Y'all have a great day. Bye. Oh wait, sorry. I always do this. Hang on for 10 seconds while we actually do the raid here in just a minute. In 5, 4. Oh, thanks for the cheers, Michael Jolly. Y'all have a great rest of the day. Bye.